Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan. Welcome to another episode of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show, the show that feels good to hear. We have a great show in store tonight. Always like when we do something different. It seems like we've been doing that more and more lately, so that's good. But before that, I want to share a little recollection, as always. As we know from our discussions on the show, there are no coincidences. Everything, if it doesn't happen for a reason, there is definitely some sort of order in the chaos of the universe where occasionally things line up in bizarre, unexplained ways. I'll tell you what I mean. This weekend, buying some records at a record wholesaler. It's a distributor. So they have all these brand new records for wholesale prices. They're a little bit cheaper. And nothing has a price on it. You got to look up in their database. So I went up to their computer. I looked it up a couple times, just different artists. Like, I wonder what Everly Brothers albums they have. Oh, I wonder what Charles Manson albums they have, whatever. Trying to think of different stuff that, you can only get new. And I was like, oh, Yehovah 13, the band that was the Source family, the Cult, had a band, a psychedelic hippie band called Yehovah 13. I was like, oh, I should look that up. So I go over to a different computer that I hadn't even touched yet, that had been off, and I turn it on, and Yehovah 13 had already been searched for. I was like, whoa, that's really tapping into some vibes. Then the next day, Sunday, I'm out exploring Griffith Park, and I come across the Ghost Train, which is not a real ghost train, but it's a special attraction just for Halloween. Didn't know that they did it, but they take you around on a train. It's like, oh, this is cool, I should come back here at night when it's running. I walk not 100 paces back to my car, and I get a text from a friend who was like, hey, you should go on that ghost train, it's really good. So I was like, whoa, another coincidence. Maybe I'm psychic or something. Maybe I can focus these abilities to get the things that I want. So Monday at work, doing the tour guide thing, Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm thinking, like, you know what? I have a feeling I'm gonna get a lot of tips today. Like, I think that I'm tapped in, like, this is prosperity day, abundance. That's my psychic intuition for the day. So I'm doing my whole thing. I'm hamming it up because I know these big tips are coming. And then nobody felt like tipping that day. So it just goes to show you, you're never psychic where it counts. And you can really only be psychic for things that have already happened. But in any event, doing something different before we bring our guest out. We've started a program. We're making commercials for people. For just $5, you get added to the Drone Box slate of commercials here. And we, a crew of There's a Place, make these commercials. And this is our first one. It's for an event that's coming up on Halloween. Well, I'll let the commercial speak for itself. So we're going to show that and be right back with our guest, Siegfried.
Hey, it's me, Dracula. Bushwick Bill is playing at the Resident this Halloween. And to celebrate, I'm going to say Bushwick 69 times. Here we go. Bushwick, 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 Bushwick. There you go, Bushwick Bill at the Resident. Stupid Life is also playing Halloween, and it's free.
Folks, my guest tonight is a magician. We're gonna see some real magic tonight. He performs all over the Magic Castle. He was on Penn and Teller. Right now he has a show going in downtown Los Angeles called Seesaw, which is, I think, it's going to the end of October. It got extended, it keeps getting extended. It's so good. But please welcome the mysterious Siegfried Tieber.
Hello, Adam.
Hey, thanks for...
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. So you got, we'll see some tricks later, but you got some cards with you?
Oh, but I always have cards with me.
That was my next question. So you must be a psychic too. You always have them with you.
Yes, it's a little bit of a habit. Never leave home without this.
So like grocery store?
Everywhere.
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 Going out to check the mail?
Yeah, even that. You know, I was talking about this with a friend the other day. You know, how most people have a mental checklist when you leave home: keys, wallet, cell phone. Mine includes playing cards.
Do you buy? How many packs do you go through?
Oh my! In a year, I might go through about 200, 250.
So, about every other day.
Yeah,
You're
pretty much. Two, sometimes 3 a week.
What do you do with what causes you to not use them anymore?
Because after performing with a deck of cards for a little while, because they are made of paper coated with plastic, but paper, they absorb humidity and they wear off easy.
They don't. Have you ever thought about designing a trick for old cards?
I have not.
You could save a lot of money.
Yes, that's a good point, though. Yeah.
So you just throw them out when they're done?
Yeah, meaning I keep them for a while. I have in a big closet at my place. I have maybe 500 of these. I guess I might do something with those eventually, but more often than not, I throw them out. Yeah.
And they're just regular bicycle. Is Bicycle the best brand?
Yes, it is. It definitely is. And it is because the way they are made. Then again, these cards are made, it's a layer of paper, plastic on top, plastic on the bottom. There are certain cards that are only paper, certain cards are only plastic, but these are good.
So a big part of magic is knowing the materials you're working with.
Yes, definitely.
Like anything else, your tools are...
Exactly.
Is magic something that, like, because I know that you do up close magic and there's stage magic, but then from watching that Penn and Teller show, they talk about things like divining the audience, or like there are these terms and stuff. Has all magic been figured out at this point and everything is just a variation?
Something quite peculiar about magic as an art form, of course, theatrical magic, is that there's always innovation. As with any other field of human endeavor, any kind of art form, performance, science, there is always innovation, but I would say that the foundations have been laid. From there you can learn, but there's innovation all the time.
What was the last breakthrough in the field of magic?
I wouldn't call this a breakthrough, but something that's relatively recent is overtly incorporating technology into magic, meaning technological devices, cell phones, iPhones, laptops, whatnot. A few magicians have played with those ideas, which have a different feeling and aesthetic than traditional magic. Yeah.
And stuff done with cameras too. It was probably like the last, because there's a trick where it was like they made a building disappear and they put a curtain up and they just moved the cameras on a track. They just moved it. Do you know about what I'm talking about?
Yes, there is that, yeah. What is peculiar about that is that, well, it was a trick made with cameras, and I know people know what we're talking about, right? Making a big object disappear or whatnot. It's not made by editing the footage, but it's an optical trick, almost as if you were there live seeing the thing on yourself, but it is the camera that shifts. But it's I would say that it's a mix of old or well-established optical principles plus the technology of cameras.
Are there greatest hits of magic that like all magicians know about?
Tricks, I imagine, or illusions?
Yeah.
There are. And I guess you might be familiar with
Saw a
many
Lady
of
in
these.
Half.
Exactly, yes. I guess greatest hits, that's a fun way to put it, but what you'd refer to as a classic, Sawing a Woman in Half or Bunny Rabbit Out of Hat. Or
I don't know if I've actually ever seen the Bunny Rabbit Out of a Hat in person.
Oh, actually, I've seen it, but I live and breathe magic, but it's an illusion that you wouldn't see performed very often nowadays.
Because it's hacky or because keeping the bunny behaved?
There is both of those. It's some might claim that it's a little hacky, but when it is well performed, it can be amazing. That illusion well performed, you'd see a magician on a stage, no bunny rabbit yet, top hat completely empty, there is nothing, and then boom, bunny rabbit. It's amazing if it's well done.
It's probably just a trap door, though. The older tricks, pretty much everyone knows how they're done, and so they don't really wow a modern audience.
Then again, if they are well
done well.
yes, they do wow modern audiences. And there's also the fact that magicians have innovated in how to accomplish well-known tricks in a way that would satisfy modern audiences. So there's all of that.
So let's talk about how you got into magic. You didn't start until late for a magician,
Yes.
in your 20s?
Actually, yeah, well, not quite, but when I was 19, which, as you said, is relatively late for a magician. I got interested in magic because somebody lent me a book. I started learning from there, and I studied this one trick for months without ever showing it to anybody. Then the first time I was willing to share it with somebody, I gathered my family in the living room of my house, and I showed them this trick, and they freaked out. And I just love the idea of sharing this with people and the interaction and the dynamics of, especially of close-up magic.
So you never were interested in magic as a kid?
Not
You never thought about it?
No, not about getting into magic professional. I guess like most, the vast majority of kids would like magic instinctively.
Yeah.
But in that regard, yeah, I guess I liked magic, but never, it wasn't anything serious.
That you ever were preoccupied with?
I don't know.
So if you hadn't have found magic, what do you think you would be doing? And don't give me the answer oh, well, I went to college for this, so I'd just be in an office. Because you wouldn't be doing that. If you
Yes.
found this alternative lifestyle, you would have probably been in some other kind of alternative lifestyle.
I guess that the answer, I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you previously, but anyway, I guess that if I hadn't found magic, I'd be doing engineering. I went to, in a nutshell, long story short, I was born and raised in Ecuador, back home in Ecuador. I went to University for Mechanical Engineering. Shortly after that, I got interested in magic. Fast forward 5 years, I graduated from university with a degree in mechanical engineering, but I decided that I wanted to do magic. So in that regard, I guess that if it hadn't been magic, it would have been engineering.
Just because it's about solving a problem and looking at how something works.
Yeah, I always enjoyed.
Is it similar?
You mean between
Skill
magic
set?
and engineering?
Yeah.
I think that the mindset that you have for engineering and magic is somewhat similar. There is no direct correlation, like mechanical engineering principles you'd put directly into magic, but the mindset is definitely similar.
So magicians and engineers.
Exactly.
Are,
There is that.
they're two hearts, one mind. So you came to LA to pursue magic because the Magic Castle is here.
Yes. Yeah.
Is the Magic Castle the only magic thing? I know it's the Mecca or whatever, but there's no is there an East Coast equivalent of the Magic Castle?
There is no other place like that in the world. There are different magic fraternities and circles and places where you can watch magic in different cities and countries in the world, but nothing like the Magic Castle. say the Vegas magic scene is interesting. Every single day in Vegas, you might be able to see 20 different magic shows. 4 or 5 are extraordinary. All the others are okay, not bad, but 4 or 5 are really good. There are magic epicenters in Europe, in South America. Argentina is one, but definitely nothing like the Magic Castle here in LA.
The Magic Castle, because I guess some people don't know what it is, but it's a clubhouse for magicians, basically.
Exactly that.
And you have to be a member to go to it and hang out.
Yes, as long as it's a clubhouse and a private club, which means that you have to be a member or be invited by a member to go. At the Magic Castle, we have what we call associate members, meaning non-magician members, and also magician members. And in order to become a magician member, you have to audition and show certain level of interest and skill, competence in magic.
Tell me about your audition at the Magic Castle.
Oh my, it was 5 years ago, shortly after I moved to Los Angeles. They would ask you to prepare a 10 to 15 minute performance. And it is nerve-wracking because then again, the best magicians in the planet are around the Magic Castle. Some of those guys are the ones holding the auditions. So I was called into the audition room and there were probably 5, 6 people, 3 or 4 I recognized, and magicians whom I highly admire. Anyway, so they told me prepare a 10 to 15 minute routine, and I had 3 tricks in mind. And before the audition started, they told me, okay, you please do your thing, and at the end we'll tell you how we think, and if we feel that we have seen enough, we'll let you know. I did the first trick, it seemed to go well. I did the second one, it seemed to go well. And after that one, before I did the first trick, they told me, okay, we think we've seen enough. And I had no clue what that meant. And they just told me to exit the room because there were other people auditioning. So they kept me in suspense. And it was like, oh, they hate me. But they liked it.
It turns out they liked you a lot.
I'd like to think so, maybe, hopefully.
So now that you remember, you perform there, so it's a place you can get stage time.
Yes.
Is that kind of the main purpose of it?
In my case, it was the main purpose. Getting to perform at the Magic Castle is, I believe, at least for me, is for a magician what performing at a Broadway musical is for an actor. It is one of the dreams, the big things that you can do as a performer. Yeah.
Well, that seems like a good time. Can we see a trick?
Yes.
Okay. Now I know you only. Have you used these cards yet today?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Will they still work for a trick?
Oh, yes, they
Okay.
do. Of course they do. Adam.
All right.
Cards all different.
Cool. So let me say up top,
Yes.
I trust your ability to find the card in the deck.
I'll try.
I think you will, though. Like, I'm not like, if I don't seem blown away, it's because I have so much confidence in you. I'm not one of these skeptics here where I'm like, he doesn't know what card I'm thinking of. I think you can do it.
Thank you.
But I'm just saying, like,
Awesome. Sounds good.
yeah.
Sounds good to me.
So yeah, but I know. Okay, let's
Let's
show me what you got.
Yeah. Adam, deck of cards, and they are all different. We need one card selected completely at random. I'll go through the card like this, at any moment say stop.
Stop.
Right there, and I can see it, it doesn't matter. 4 of hearts, please keep it in mind. Your card is roughly in the middle, right? More or less. The idea is to try to create the illusion that it melts through the deck until it comes to the top. Of course, it's not on the top yet. It was the 4, right?
Yeah.
Of hearts.
Yeah.
Comes to the top.
I knew you could do it.
Thank you. Adam, let's try again.
Okay.
In slow motion. You know, people often think about this idea that magic is about speed. The hand is quicker than the eye. It's not about speed. Magic has to convince the mind, not merely deceive the eye. So, slow motion. 4 of hearts, roughly in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Ever so slowly, push it in so it's lost in there. Thank you. Back to the top. Adam, one more time.
Okay, yeah.
3rd time's the charm.
Okay.
At this point, people might think that maybe it's a deck with 52 fours of hearts, but there's only one and you selected it at random. Please lean in. Lean a little closer and hold up your hand.
Okay.
This time the third 4 of hearts will go in your hands from the bottom to the top.
Okay.
Slow motion. 4 of hearts.
Wow. Fun. So how did you come up with a trick like that?
Oh yeah,
You don't have to tell me how you did it, obviously. That takes the fun out of it. But are you just kind of like sitting in traffic or whatever, and you're like, I should have a trick where they pick the card, and then I have it come to the top, and then the finale will be that it comes, like...
Yes. Say, for example, as we were talking about earlier on, there are classics in Magic, Bunny Rabbit. This is a little bit of a classic in Magic, meaning the premise is simple. A card goes in the deck, in the center, and in slow motion, no movements, no nothing, comes to the top. It's an idea, a premise that it's been around for about 100 years, and it's, so to speak, obvious.
Yeah, no,
I'll keep talking. My point being, Adam,
pick a card, any card.
Exactly.
It's a classic.
Put it in the deck, and the idea of making it come to the top over and over, it's been around for about 100 years. But this is definitely my take on the idea. So to speak, my take on a classic of Magic, the rabbit out of the hat or whatnot.
Does it come to you all at once, the trick?
No, this whole thing, just the 3 bits that I showed you, the card coming to the top, it took like 2 years of work and brainstorming and coming up with ideas. Sometimes it has happened to me, as you said, that I'm driving or taking a shower, taking a walk or whatnot, and boom, a fully formed idea pops into mind. And sometimes it's just over a long period of time.
Yeah, it's a regular card. So since you're doing close-up magic, and it's like you're interacting with the audience, do you ever get someone who is just a kind of a moron, and like they are not taking the cues from you that they need to take to keep the trick moving along?
There is definitely that. In Magic, as in comedy, people talk about the idea of hecklers, people being on purpose trying to ruin the act. I honestly don't think I have ever found a heckler in my life. I think that the performer creates the heckler for him or herself. I have definitely found people that are a little hard to deal with, or that don't, or who aren't the best for the flow of the performance, but I don't think this comes from a bad place. Spans of attention are different. Sometimes people didn't have lunch and that puts them in a strange mood or whatnot. Or maybe they are not good at following instructions, or sometimes it's my accent that gets in the way and people don't know what I'm saying.
Sometimes they can't remember what card they picked.
That happens, not often, but that happens.
That's probably it. Yeah, I think so. I think it was red or something.
I found some of those lovely people. Yes, there is that. Yeah.
So you said that performing at the Magic Castle was a big thrill of your career.
Yeah.
But then you were on Penn and Teller's show. Who are they the most well-respected magicians, do you think? Besides like Houdini and
I would say they are definitely two of the most respected contemporary magicians. Penn and Teller, they are the rare kind of artists or performers who have achieved both commercial success and critical acclaim.
Yeah.
The public in general and we people in the magic community, we absolutely love them. Yeah.
do you like, is it like when like, say I'm in a band and stuff, like I go see like a guitar player who's really good, I'm just like, oh man, he's killing it. Like I get into it. When you watch them do magic, are you like, oh yeah, this is where they're gonna throw the knife? Like, do you get excited about it?
Yeah, there's
all the beats of it.
Yes.
The trick?
Oh yes, definitely that. And you see, say as a performer and as an audience member, you can feel when the performance is going well, and you know everything fits into its place, and we are all pumped up and excited. Yeah.
Did you think you were gonna fool them when you went on the show?
Penn and Teller.
Yeah, because the show is you do a trick and they have to guess how you did it.
Yeah. I did not expect to fool them, to be honest.
But you knew you were bringing your best trick.
But definitely yes. Yes. I selected the trick that I did for them because I thought it would put me in the best light possible, and it would also give me an opportunity to be myself and be silly with them in the trick I do. But have you seen it?
Yeah,
Yes.
I watched it.
They anyway.
I like that show.
For people who, yeah, it's a fun show.
Yeah.
Saying the trick I do, I put Penn, Teller to my side. Each of them selects a card, and it's a goofy pick a card trick, but there's a lot of room for interaction, and I'm being silly with Penn, this, and Teller, this. So I that was the main reason why I selected that piece, because it would allow for interaction.
So Penn and Teller are, they're known for the magic and stuff, and then Penn is a big supporter of like outsider music and stuff, but then they are also big time skeptics and debunkers, and that's kind of a thing with magicians, being an adamant skeptic. Why is that?
There is definitely that, because once you've been in magic for a number of years, magic uses different A magic trick consists of many different levels. There is the technique and the sleight of hand, of course, but I believe that the most important component is the psychological. How do you lead people's thought into a certain track? So after you've been doing magic for a number of years, you do realize that the same principles that you're using for sleight of hand tricks are the principles that so-called psychics and fortune tellers are using. So there is that, and that also extends to different branches of parapsychology and pseudosciences, that many of these involve applied psychology. So as a magician, once you realize that what you do is a trick or a deception, you realize that everything else might also fall into the same category. When you perform magic, you're using these tricks to create magic illusions. If you're in a theater, all of us understand that this is an art form, that this is fiction. However, if you take it out of the theater, what the psychic, the medium, the fortune teller do, they are not presenting it as an art form, but as the real thing.
So they're using their powers for evil instead of good.
Basically, yes, that's exactly what they're doing.
But psychics, I was kind of talking about this up top, psychics, sure, some of them know that they're phony baloney, but I believe that some psychics honestly believe that they have psychic abilities, and probably under that they know inside that they're not really psychic. But what about those people?
You're
Is
up.
there no room for like do you believe in UFOs or ghosts or any paranormal kind of thing?
But meaning, if
You personally, as a magician.
I do not. No, me personally don't. There are magicians and there are skeptics who are a little more flexible, I would say. But I personally am a little radical in my views. I guess I of course respect everybody's opinions and point of views, but on my own views, I'm a little radical.
But you wouldn't be open to like seeing a ghost. Like if somebody took you into a haunted house, you'd be like, nah, it's just a draft in here. That's not like a spirit.
I would be open for it, but I think that I would always approach the situation from a very skeptical point of view. And I guess that even if I were to see what most people would believe to be a ghost, I try to see the wires or the threads suspending it. Have you seen the show Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic show. What is the premise of the show? That they see ghosts and ghouls and goblins and monsters. And at the beginning, everything makes sense and there's no possible explanation. And it has to be real. But once you dig a little deeper, you see, oh, there is an explanation. And at the beginning, everybody believed these were real. But then you go a little farther and see behind the deception. I think that, first of all, it's a super fun show, but the premise, it encompasses all what skepticism is.
Kind of like the allegory of the cave. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
So then, has doing magic ruined like the enjoyment of life? Like, as from dipping my toe into comedy, I just analyze it, and like it's rare I have a good belly laugh. If it's something surprising, just a thing from life, then that's funny. But like, it's hard for somebody to just like make me laugh. Because I'm just standing there. Same with music too. I'm standing there. I'm just like, yeah, it's good, or like whatever. So, but has that like encompassed everything in your life now?
Definitely, my involvement with magic has permeated into all my life. How do you feel about this? Because you mentioned in your case music and comedy. I don't think that the knowledge of magic has ruined magic for me or any other areas. I simply think that it has led me to appreciate from a different perspective. How do you feel about it, music and comedy?
It's a different appreciation, you're right. But it's not the same as just being able to be delighted by it.
Do you yourself, if say a favorite comic or band or musician that you love, hopefully you're still delighted or still a little too critical?
I appreciate the intention behind it, which can be much more rewarding and richer because you understand where the creator is coming from. But at the same time, it's hard to just like not pay it. Like, I can't have music on in the background because I'm paying attention to it. I'm listening to like, what's this part, or like, oh yeah, or like even if it's a song I've heard a million times, I'm like, yep, this is where that part comes in, and that's why this is a good song and other songs aren't as good as this. So
a friend of mine recently mentioned this analogy, and I think that it makes perfect sense. Like, Coke, drinking Coke pleases everyone, but once you develop a fine taste for wine, Coke is not so enjoyable anymore. But then if you have a very refined taste, you might be able to appreciate wine, for example, or food or tastes that many other people don't. So I think the appreciation shifts, and it can also be rewarding, hopefully.
Hopefully. So the term magic, as we've been talking about it, we've kind of been referring to like tricks and illusions, which that term is a little annoying. Let me just tell you, by the way.
Illusion?
Yeah, it's a little.
Tell me why.
Because it's like, it's so like fanciful, like it's an illusion. It's a trick. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
absolutely with you. I do not mind in my work. I refer to my work as tricks because that's what they are. Technically, all magic are illusions, but there are some people, some magicians who would like be. I think that's snobbish. Like I don't do tricks, I do illusions.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
But anyway, magic, tricks, illusions, whatever. There's that kind of magic. But then people would also say, like, if you hear a song that has a melody and gets stuck in your head, like that's magic. Or like, you know, children, like when you go to Disneyland, you see kids like happy to like see Mickey Mouse and stuff, and that smile, like that's like the magic kingdom and stuff.
Or you have magic detergents that remove stains.
That's true. Something unbelievable. Where do you stand on the other types of magic?
Say that again?
Where do you stand on the other types of magic?
How do you mean? Experiences in life in general?
Yeah, is it the same? Like, is the term, like, do we need the terms trick and illusion because it's not the same as that kind of magic?
That's a complex question. But I think that as long as we know what we are talking about, words have weight, of course, and they are important. And there's a difference between saying what I do are tricks and what I do are illusions. I think that if I say it like as nobody would care, but if we are having an elaborate conversation, I try to talk you into see that what I do as a magician, these are illusions technically because that's what they are. But if we are chatting casually, these are tricks, of course they are. I guess
but
then,
what's happening while we're chatting, that's the real magic.
Yes, it is.
The enjoyment.
Yeah.
That's why they call it magic.
Exactly. I definitely.
Take that to the magician meeting next time. Do you have meetings at the Magic Castle?
Yes, kind of, but I don't go often. Meaning they have
the state of magic today.
There are a few of those every now and then, but more often than not, those are. We have lectures geared towards magicians, which are. They end up being open conversations about magic, which sometimes can get to be pretty interesting.
It's like anything else, where once you start digging deeper, you realize there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And and the fact that it's magic related just adds this extra like intrigue to it. Your show, Seesaw, I saw it. It was a great show. I noticed in a lot of the press you were getting, they mentioned that you were 30 years old.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Is that really necessary?
The fact that they mention it?
To mention your age when they're talking about how good your magic show is?
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, it was
but
weird.
I don't feel any particular way about it. Something somebody asked me was that, are you under 30? Somebody asked me once. And I guess that if I were, because I'm 30, if I'd be under 30, that would be a little bit big of a big deal, I guess, because, this guy is under 30. But no, I really don't see any relevance in mentioning that I'm 30. What did
that would be a great illusion if you could make everyone think that you are under 30.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, but the show was great. You take questions from the audience, and so people could ask. I bet you get like the same questions every night, pretty much.
Actually, no. It's been a quite fun experience in the sense. Some questions I've got often, like how did you get started in magic, or how does a magician learn her craft? Those are questions that people often wonder about magic and magicians. But no, we got pretty interesting questions and got into very exciting tangents. Yeah.
And it's on for another couple weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
It was in the LA Times. I went on a tour of the LA Times, and they had you up on the bulletin board in the photo section.
Oh, really?
And the tour guide was like, "This is a magician." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know him."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, there's the magic. That smile. Okay, I want to see another trick, but I had one. This is a dumb question to end on. How often do you turn over your act? Like, can you leave a good trick in forever?
Yes. There are a few tricks that I've been doing for about 5, 6, 7 years. What you saw in Seesaw, the show I'm doing here in Los Angeles, probably 80% of that is material that I developed for the show, which I have developed only in the last 6, 7 months, which is relatively new. Yeah.
And then, so when this show is over, you might take the best bits of this, fold it into what you're already doing.
Yes, I imagine that will definitely happen. What happens with magic is that you can have a modular act in which you take bits in and out. To some extent, I guess, and most people are more familiar with stand-up comedy than they are with magic. I guess that might also be valid for stand-up comedy. If we see a comedian on the stage doing a 60, 70-minute set, probably there are 6, 7-minute chunks that if you could remove and put another one, as long as everything flows together.
Tulsa.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a camaraderie or a overlap between magicians and comedians? Think same type of person? Because you know what they say about comedians, is that they're all crazy and self-obsessed and self-hating and stuff. Are magicians like that?
There is a little.
Okay, that's all you say. You're in an elevator and power goes out and you're stuck for 6 hours. Would you rather be stuck with another magician or a comedian?
A comedian, because I'd have many questions. I'd be curious about asking questions. But there is a little bit of craziness and drama, just a little bit in the magic community, as in any other community, I guess.
Gotta have a little craziness. Siegfried, can we see one more trick?
Yes.
Cool.
Let's do it. Adam,
Yeah.
can we get a super tight close-up for this?
Yeah, he's ready.
Yes. Haha. This is, you asked a second ago, like for how long I've been doing material, and actually this I have been doing maybe for 5, 6 years. It's not a card trick, it is something different. This is my favorite magic trick. For this, we need 2 bills, 1, 5, Adam, hold on to that one, like this, and fold it in half this way. And one more time this way, and one more time this way. Open up your hand, please. This one, open. May I please?
Yes.
I want everybody to see 1 and 5. Ta-ta-da. Close, please. And hold on there. So you have the 2 bills. 1, 5. Here comes the fun part. Open. I'm going to take out one of the 2. Close. Hold on tight against your chest. I took out one of the 2 bills. You have one of them, right? I have the 1. Adam, do not take your eyes off it. 1, 2, and now I have the 5.
And there's the 1. I knew you could do it.
Thank you.
I knew you could do it.
I appreciate it.
Siegfried, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, it's Adam Papagan reminding you there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.